Hi there, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here. And welcome back to Friday Night Fist Fights, the series where I take two fictional characters and I put them in a battle of fisticuffs to see who I think would win. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, side note, go follow me on Twitter, but if you follow me on Twitter, you already know what this is going to be. I already posted about it. Today's Friday Night Fist Fights, we're talking about two absolute units of the 90s sitcom era. I am, of course, talking about Mr. Carl Winslow and Mr. Philip Banks, two of the greatest family patriarchs to come out of anything TV. They are the cream of the crop. They are 100%. They are physically and in stature very large men, and this is going to be a fun one. I was excited to do this when I saw it on Twitter and decided I wanted to do it. But before we start, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. Okay, let's get moving. If you don't know what TV show these characters are from, I'm not going to be a boomer about it, because I was 3, I think, when Fresh Prince ended, and I don't even think I was viable sperm when Family Matters ended. So if you don't know what they are, I don't blame you. I'll do a quick little explanation. Family Matters was meant to be like a blue-collar Cosby show, and if you've never seen The Cosby Show, you can probably skip it. Knowing what we know now, it's not an important piece of history anymore, I don't think. But the point was, Carl Winslow was the patriarch of the Winslow family, and it was essentially how he would get his family through tough times, and it kind of had all these cool different characters. It was a cool TV show. It was about, family and loving your family and weird nerds that hit on your daughter in a very unacceptable fashion for today's, understanding of the world. But nonetheless, it was a good show, and Carl Winslow was a police officer who, worked along with his family to do good things in life, I guess. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a little bit different. The family was more well-off than the Winslows. It starred Will Smith, which, poor guy, huh? Just can't seem to catch a break in life like ever. But nonetheless, it was Will Smith moving into his rich Uncle Phil's house with his family and essentially becoming a part of their lives. And that is also a very good show, and I highly recommend watching it. I do the same thing with Family Matters, but if you're going to watch both of them, watch Fresh Prince first, because I think it's a lot better. But nonetheless, let's break down to the brass tacks of this actual fist fight. Let's stop talking semantics. Now, I've established that Carl Winslow is a police officer, so given that fact, I think it's fair to say he probably has a good amount of training, so he gets a point there. He kind of knows the ins and outs. I feel like if you had to fist fight Carl Winslow in general, he knows a couple of tactics, maybe throws a good punch, who knows. But I feel like that gives him, at this point, a nice little a little upper hand in this fight against Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil, by contrast, was a judge. Now, that might be easy to say, like, oh, okay, well then he doesn't know how to fight. I feel like that's kind of not the right response, because Uncle Phil, being a judge, probably had to go through some sort of training. Maybe he wasn't a cop before. That's never really something that's delved into. I think he was like a lawyer before he was a judge. But I feel like he probably has some sort of training as a judge. Like, you probably have to know something. So I'm going to give him a point for being able to fight. I feel like he can do that. I feel like that's where we even out this part of the fight. Another point that I'm going to give Uncle Phil immediately to follow this is his size. Uncle Phil is substantially wider. He's substantially thicker than Carl. I think he's a little bit taller. I think it's more equal, but I think he's a little bit taller. So I feel like that provides him with enough padding to kind of get through a fist fight with ease. I would imagine it's like that episode of SpongeBob where he's getting punched by Bubble Bass. I feel like it would be like that, where like it doesn't really affect him. It's not really registering. I'm going to give him a point for that, and I just really think that's an upper advantage he has over Carl. Where I'm also going to give Carl a point is that size difference. It is because he's probably a little faster than Phil. He's probably got a little bit of speed. I feel like Phil throws punches like dodged it, right? Like he has a more of a capability, probably a little more range of motion. Probably he's probably a little more athletic than he looks. I feel like that could be a big advantage for him. So I'm going to toss him another point, and we'll move on from there. Before we simulate the actual fight, we got to talk about some extraneous factors, some things that might not really affect the fight between the two of them, but it could pump them up a little bit. So if we're talking about, Carl on his side, has he seen Urkel recently? Has Urkel been messing with his life? That could be a function where he shows up to the fight like, you know what, Urkel turned my car into a banana, and now I'm pissed, and now I'm just gonna, fight Phil with 1,000 punches. That could be a big factor for him. That if that has happened prior, then it's gonna be a lot more in Carl's favor in that situation. A situation for Phil would be, let's say Carl makes fun of his mom. Now we all know notoriously, Phil does not like it when his mama is called names. So let's just say Carl came and said like, oh, your mama's so fat, and then boom, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. It's over. I feel like those are two like good things to mention, I think, because they're pretty like well established in the TV show as like big character traits. In this fight, I don't think I'm gonna count those, but I do feel like those are worth mentioning were this to be like an actual simulated fight. And now we're on to the fight itself. I think personally, Carl has an early lead. He's got an early advantage. I think he's a little more fluid in motion. He's a little more ready to go. Like I said, he has a little more, range of motion, a little more speed. I feel like he gets a good quality couple of hits on Phil first. I think he goes for some body shots, try and wear him down, try and, get him to falter a little bit. And just, he's not really trying to go for the knockout in one punch. He's just trying to tire out his opponent. So I think starting out, he already has a good advantage over Phil, and he takes that chance. He goes for the body to try and tire him out. Now on Phil's end, I feel like that's part of his strategy. Tire your opponent out. He knows he's not going to be hurting from it, right? He knows body shots aren't going to do anything to him. So I'm fairly certain that Phil is just standing there like, get all of them out, Carl. Do your thing, get tired, let's go. And he's just letting Carl go and get him with the big punches to try and, tire him out, when in reality, Carl is tiring himself out. This is where I think Phil goes for his big move. He goes straight for the haymaker, just square to the face. I feel like it's probably like, how in Black Panther he has that suit that absorbs energy? I feel like that's what he's been doing this whole time. He's just been like absorbing the kinetic energy of Carl punching him and just get him once in the face, right? And so I think from there he's just getting that one big punch on Carl, and that's drastically turning the tides of this fight. Carl is now disoriented. He now has no idea where he is. Just from one punch, his opponent kind of, made him go all wonky. I would imagine it's like in an anime when the main character's like, ugh. I would imagine it's something like that, where he's now in a phase where he's like, oh man, I got hit super hard, and that was one punch. So I feel like by this point, Carl is just thoroughly wonked out. He is not nearly at the capacity he was. Probably got a nice mild concussion from how Phil punched him, but he's got the endurance, man. He's still gonna go in for the fight, and he's probably still gonna go in for a couple more punches, maybe try and go for the face to get back at Phil. However, by this point, Phil's already got him in the bag. He got him with that one punch. That was all he needed. I feel like at this point, all Phil is doing is letting him throw a couple more, letting him get a little more on the weak side, and then bam, going right for the second one. I think that Phil wins this fight by a country mile, and I don't even think it takes him that much. I don't even think it's going to be that hard for him. I think, as in this simulation, I think it takes 2 hits. I think he's just building up, waiting to go. Goes for the one, disorients Carl. Goes for the second, knocks him out. It's game over. Phil for sure, in my opinion, wins this fight every time. Now, if you're wondering, right, well, but doesn't Carl have a gun? Keep in mind, this is a fist fight. This is just straight fisticuffs. Carl can't bring in a weapon. Uncle Phil can't bring in Lucille. So it's kind of like it's even. It is an even fight in terms of just fists. It's like flipping a coin. It is just nice and easy, nice and simple. There's no discrimination in it whatsoever. If you can punch harder than the other guy, you'll win. And I think in this case, Phil can punch Carl a lot harder, and I feel like he can win this real easy, just real simple. This Friday Night Fist Fights, this fight goes right to Philip Banks. And with that, we are now at the end of this episode of Friday Night Fist Fights. If you enjoyed this, well, feel free to let me know. Throw me a like, throw me a comment. That really does help. It's one of those things like, hey, if I can get the algorithm to be like, oh, hey, who's this dude? And kind of get people to look at my stuff, then it'd be pretty dope. I am currently writing an advertisement on Twitter as well. So if you're coming from that, let me know that too. I want to see if I actually succeeded in doing that. Say something like, hey, Derek, I'm from the weird ad you put on Twitter that you paid $100 for. $100 for. And I'm here. Welcome me to the channel, hoo. And I'll do that for you. You seem like a pretty cool person already to me. If you have any ideas for Friday Night Fist Fights, anything you want me to talk about, let me know. Toss those in the comments as well. You want the Master Chief and Kratos? That one's kind of stupid because we know who wins that one. But you want something fun? You want something cool? Let me know. Throw it my way, and I will get all Friday night funky with it. We'll get partying with it every Friday night. Hopefully, is the eventual goal. The last couple episodes I said every Friday, but it's just like life is hectic, and I spent like the last 3 weeks editing my Local 58 video for my Halloween video, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break for a little bit. So if you want more Friday Night Fist Fights, you want more different cool crazy things, let me know. Give me some people to recommend, and hell, if I like them, I'll do them. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the channel. It really does mean a lot to me, all 25 of you, hopefully more after this. Hopefully, like I said, if my advertisement pays off, hopefully more than 25. For you 25, I still love you. You're still fantastic. You're still great. Thank you for coming to the channel. So thank you for watching. Hope you keep watching. Hope you like my other videos. Hope you like what I come out in the future. And I will see you guys in next week's upload.